All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Buffalo Happy Hour. What's up, Mike?
Derek, we are at Lockhouse Distillery.
We sure are.
Distilling.
Absolutely. We're here with Cory. Cory, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. This is Cory Muscato from Lockhouse Distillery, and I'm very excited to be here.
Absolutely. With Muscato as the last name, I would think more winery would be your business.
You would suspect that, but as long as it goes in a glass, I think it fits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Half glass, half empty, half full.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Use a smaller glass. That's what I say.
There you go. Absolutely.
I like that.
So we were talking a little bit off camera how you got into this. Do you want to explain kind of how you got into this business?
Sure. I mean, it's really a tale as old as time. Accidents happen all the time. I mean, come on, look at me. Thanks, Mom. But really, English degree, English major, literature minor at Buff State. Someone bought me a home brewing kit in, I think, my first semester of my senior year. You catch the bug, so it's said, with the brewing and the craft scene, and shit rolls downhill. Ended up going to grad school in Canada for brewery operations and brewery management. Worked at a couple different breweries across the state for about 3 years, including Flying Bison, Old
cool.
Saratoga Brewing Company, which is now closed, but they were one of the largest in the state until I had an opportunity to move back here to my hometown of Buffalo to join a just opened company of Lockhouse Distillery. No competition at the time. First distillery in Buffalo since 1919, so it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Just joined them as actually a part-time employee.
Oh.
Followed a girl back here, one of the best mistakes I ever made, and ended up working for the distillery for a couple weeks until they needed me at full-time, and then a couple weeks later I was managing it.
Nice. So,
Interesting how things work out like that.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, especially for an emerging market that is Western New York for the craft spirits. In 2013, this whole craft spirits movement was hot on the heels of the brewing boom. Naturally, it was the next logical step.
Right.
So having that experience in the brewing industry from a production management side really helped the transition. Having that background made everything a lot easier. I couldn't imagine doing it without it as seamless as I did.
And you guys actually took it by storm, too, because I remember when you first came to this location and everybody was talking about the atmosphere to start and then how you guys made your cocktails and then the product. And it was like this full circumvent experience that everyone was raving about. And the first time I came here was actually for like a sub-work event. Everybody in the industry that I was in would meet at different locations around Buffalo and just network. It was basically like, let's just all hang out. So we go place to place, and then we came here one night, and I was extremely thrown off because I wasn't expecting everything to show up the way it did. From the cocktails and then the amount of products that you guys had was kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
You have a plethora of things to choose from.
Yeah, well, we like our spirits here, and we don't think that limiting your choices, though from a local scene, there's a lot to choose from. We really want to practice what we preach and making products that are not just another notch on the belt or not just an excuse, but really as unique in cocktails as they are on their own, but approachable. You know, especially when you talk distilled spirits, there's a much higher educational price tag associated with these products than there are beer, wine, or cider, where as a consumer you can crack any of those other ones open, pour yourself a glass, and make your own discerning opinion based solely off that sip. With distilled spirits, very few people, other than ourselves, of course, are pouring just a straight spirit and drinking it as is. Usually there's some utility or education, how to use it in a cocktail, and for a lot of people that can be intimidating.
Right.
So we want to make them just as approachable on their own as they are in cocktails.
Sure. Awesome. Well, you want to talk about the products that you have here?
Sure. We have 8 products that we make. We have 8 of our own products that we make. 7 of which are our flagship, that is to say, year-round. One is a seasonal. We started out producing our Lockhouse vodka when we were at our location in North Buffalo, and then very quickly moved to a New York-style gin, which is really just a homage to the real birthplace of contemporary gin being New York, originally New Holland, when the Dutch brought over their tradition of making gin in Genever, there's fewer conifer trees and juniper trees here, so the resulting product had a reduced juniper content. And New Age, New World, Western, contemporary gins was born. Those are the gins that really feature the qualities and characteristics of the supporting cast and crew of botanicals, unlike London dry styles, your Bombay, your Tanqueray, your Beefeater, which for some people can be very one-dimensional with the juniper and almost bitter. For me, I love them. Bombay Sapphire is a mainstay, but we wanted to help introduce the American palate to a much more approachable or balanced gin.
Sure.
And from there, originally, this is right around the time when I joined the company in 2013, they had purchased equipment and a load of barrels to immediately begin production on a rye whiskey. Having the background I did, I knew what the equipment was necessary, and not to any of their discredit, but the equipment that was purchased wasn't going to yield a quality or correct product. It would be very challenging to make what we needed to make in order to fill those barrels. So we sold the equipment and reserved and shelved that production of the rye whiskey until we were able to move down here and ultimately knock down some walls. But we still had all these barrels. So we developed an entire new recipe of gin, built of botanicals, a whole different set of botanicals, herbs that differed from our New York style gin that we launched with, and aged it in new char oak barrels. I love barrel aged gin. I think it has a lot of mis and disinformation out there about the category. A lot of the barrel aged gins are on the market. If you go around, you'll see they're tan or yellow, very pale in color. And I want to say right off the cuff that they are an excuse. That's not to say that some of them aren't delicious and great, but they're an excuse to just have another product line. They're an excuse to reuse those once, twice, 3 times used bourbon, rum, wine barrels to recoup some of the cost associated with that original barrel purchase. So they put it in there for 3-4 months. It's been used a couple times, so the product that comes out is very tan, yellow, and mild. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really have the moniker barrel in the quality that it does in the name. So we use exclusively new char barrels to really blur the line between a young whiskey and a gin. And on top of that, when we released it, it was like every 4 months we would open the barrels and release them. And we ultimately laid more barrels down to rest and filled than we needed to harvest, hoping to grow the age on that product. Now we're harvesting at 32 months in new char, which is the oldest barrel-aged gin in the country by my research. But to be fair, there is no gin registry. So I don't actually know that, but I haven't been able to find one. So if someone does, please send them my way.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to try it.
That was my first question, is where you get these barrels from. I didn't know that these were actually new barrels that you're finishing them in.
Yeah. I mean, start and finishing this. And we originally sourced them from Black Swan Cooperage, which is some of the smaller 8 and 10 gallon barrels with the honeycomb pattern on the inside, which is essentially just a way for the wood to accommodate more surface area and speed up that aging. But now we're filling exclusively 53 gallon barrels. We're harvesting 25s and 30s, so we're scaling up. We use Klein Cooperage. I'm sorry, it's Kelvin. I always mix those two up. It's not owned by Calvin Klein. Calvin Cooperage is
An easy mistake to make.
is a barrel cooperage in the Pennsylvania area. They have a really good reputation. For a long time before Michter's opened up their own cooperage to satisfy their demand, they supplied Michter's, which is a newer but very quality-focused whiskey brand that everyone seems to be familiar with. I know I am.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I am. Well, today we got cocktails, too. This is with the barrel-aged gin, and this is fantastic. The way that you do it, you can definitely tell there's the difference between the ones that are aged for, like you were saying, very low amount of time, whereas this one you can taste and see that it was in there for quite a while. Yeah,
it's honestly, we're looking at a bottle of just the barrel-aged gin right here, and it is very, very, I wouldn't say even golden. It's brown.
Yeah, it looks like a whiskey.
It looks like a whiskey, and we really want to blur the line. We're not trying to make this a whiskey. This is a barrel-aged gin, but we wanted to have the balance of that barrel and that gin, and not just another excuse to use a barrel and put another product out there. The utility for this is really magical in that it can toe the line between those two. So whether you're using it in a gin old fashioned or just on its own in a Negroni, it stands up very, very well. I'm actually drinking the barrel aged gin neat, no ice. It's one of my favorite products because I love whiskey and I love gin. So for me, it's the best of both worlds. And I'll pour a little bit. Please forgive that this is a really large cylindrical beaker. But if you guys want to try it on its own, feel free to take a sip. It's 45%, 90 proof. It's got a lot of high notes of lavender and lemon right off the top. And the barrel characteristic really just settles in. We want to blur the line. Ultimately, all these new styles, whether it's spirits, whether it's IPAs, they were created because people were pushing the boundaries and really trying to differentiate their products and try new things. So ultimately, we're really trying to elevate the quality of the style without compromising on the end result.
Are you able to barrel age any other spirits, or is it just gin?
No, you're allowed to barrel age anything. I think that there's certain cultural expectations about what is and isn't barrel aged, and there's even more legal limitations on what can carry the name barrel aged. You notice that for a lot of products, they can't for most gins. And if a gin is on the market and it says barrel aged, chances are they just got a moderator that didn't know what they were doing and accidentally let it slide.
Really?
Because the barrel aged statement as a statement, as a federally regulated statement, is only able to be used on rum and whiskey.
Okay.
And brandy, excuse me.
Interesting.
Yes.
Is that the length making that?
No, no. Like there's a lot of rums out there that are. There's a lot of rums, whiskeys, and every other spirits out there that do have that barrel age statement that literally someone pours into a barrel with a hole at the top and it has a hole at the bottom, and then as soon as it went in, it comes out, and it is barrel aged,
right.
And then the rest of the color is caramel.
Yeah, I mean, it was aged for a second.
That is a very common occurrence that you will see across the industry.
Wow.
And it's just marketing, but it satisfies that legal requirement.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's I won't even get started on the legal mandates. I spend way too much time working with the regulatory and compliance agencies,
Right.
and have headaches over their misinterpretations of the law. Like, I want to put the most accurate 32 months barrel-aged gin on my label, so it's a very accurately portraying the product for consumer confidence. But they say no, because it's a gin, so you can't barrel age it technically. Even though we all know you can, that's how the law is written currently. So it can be challenging sometimes.
What would the process be to modify or change or somewhat affect the verbiage of the law? Is it the same concept that we would go through, or is it different for you guys because of the product itself?
No, it's not really different. There's actually a lot of there's a big drive behind that exact example I just used right now. The TTB, Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, formerly ATF, is has been seeking suggestions and input from individuals, companies, trade associations on some COLA or labeling, essentially, changes that they're going to be making to the laws over the last 12 months. And based on those changes, they're going to come up with some revisions. And there's a lot of people, associations, that have given their input on this and other topics that will influence that. So if they weren't already in process of going through some reviews and changes, it would be a little bit longer of a road, but there's been enough pushback and enough change in the industry to really give them the opportunity to reflect on the current status of these laws. I mean, looking back until the 80s and 90s, when none of this stuff really existed, or at least had mainstream visibility or distribution, there was no squeaky wheel. Now, 2000, even back to 2010, 2013, when this was starting to emerge a lot more, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and so 6 years later, we're starting to see some of that grease applied.
Right.
Nice. And from a distribution standpoint, where can people find your products?
We are available throughout all of New York State. Here in Western New York, you can find us at every local liquor store and over 350 bars and restaurants, but we're available through all of New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, the District of Columbia, and at some bars and restaurants only in Virginia.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Okay. And then you can't ship, right?
Yeah.
It's like illegal. That's a whole other can of worms.
It's a whole other can of worms that we're working on.
Okay.
I won't even get into it, but for those of you that are interested, you're welcome to give me a call. It's called direct-to-consumer shipping, and only 6 states currently allow that practice, and they're only able to do it with each other. The law, the concept is based on reciprocity, so you have to have interstate commerce in order to have intrastate commerce. So if we wanted to ship to somewhere, we have to allow them to ship to us. And wine has that with 46 states.
Right.
But distilled spirits, they consider it a whole different thing. And it's a great example why temperance is alive and well in this country. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
So speaking of location, can you tell everyone where you're located?
We are located in sunny downtown Buffalo, New York at 41 Columbia Street, right in the heart of the Cobblestone District behind the Sabres Arena, or right on the other side of Michigan if you're looking at it from the other direction. We do have a full-service cocktail bar and tasting room. We do bottle retails, not just of our own products, but any other New York State products we carry also, beer, wine, spirits, and cider.
Cool. Yeah, we were just talking about how we'll always call it the Sabres Arena because it changes so frequently. We just got to call it the
I'm
Sabres
sure it'll
Arena.
change in like 3 weeks.
Probably.
Yeah, it's going to be the Billy Fusillo Arena.
Yeah.
And it's going to be huge. It already is huge.
It is. What made you choose this location? Was there a conscious decision or was it just available?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
It was a conscious decision. There was a limited amount of availability given the budget we had, but also we knew that we wanted to have a retail or on-premise component to use our products and interact with consumers and give back to the community, not just in a service capacity like any other bar or restaurant, but really give back in a way that we can use the people that came to our space as a way to do some market research. Here's some stuff we're trying, give us your feedback. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think we're all very egotistical creatures, but I'm not too egotistical to think that our products are the end-all, be-all of existence.
Right.
We love feedback, we have plenty of room to grow, and we wanted to utilize this space as a healthy way to understand what that potential growth was.
Sure.
So, and right along around when we moved down here at 2014, the New York Craft Act that really gave farm producers, the farm law, farm breweries, farm distilleries, farm wineries, the ability to serve their own products, not just in tastings or do retail full bottle sales, but also by the glass and cocktails without having to get a separate liquor license, made it very entertaining, made us entertain the idea of opening up a bar component with our tasting room and distillery so that we can utilize the products that we already had.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And made some other ones specifically to fill that niche. Our bar was New York State only spirits for the first year and a half.
Oh, okay.
Which, fantastic, but not without its complications. A lot of people, myself included at some point, like to think that New York is a very diverse place with a lot of diverse spirits, and that may be true for some of the categories and the quality of them, but you're not going to find any New York-based rum because guess what? No sugar canes are here. You're not going to find any New York limoncellos because no lemons. You're not going to find a lot, and some of that goes to you're not going to find any New York State bitter aperitifs like Campari, Cappelletti, Aperol that are mainly used in a significant amount of cocktails. Sure. Negronis, one of the most famous gin cocktails that stood the test of the last century, and we were a distillery that at the time had 2 gins. If we weren't going to be able to sell a Negroni, that would have been pretty embarrassing and a huge misstep on our part. So because of that need and that New York State source requirement for all of the products we were serving, we went ahead and developed our own. So that's where our Hibisco bitter, it's a hibiscus-based bitter liqueur. It kind of falls right in between where it's bitter but not too bitter, sweet but not too sweet. Stands up really well in a cocktail. And if you're interested in bitter things, it's really good on its own. It does act as an aperitif and helps stimulate the digestion enzymes that are normally inactive before a meal.
Interesting.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Learned
Well,
a lot
I mean,
there.
if you want to really get into it very briefly, because it sounds like I do, couple, over the last 10,000 and so odd years, we grew up from hunter-gatherers into settlers. And when we were hunter-gatherers, you would find something, you would eat it. It would be bitter. Turns out it was poison. And your body would recognize that flavor and that taste as a signifier of that poison, and it would speed up the enzymes in your body to help get the poison out as fast as possible to pass it through your self. Yeah, we'll call it your system. Before it was too late and it took effect.
Yeah.
So now, not everything that's bitter is poison, and we know what is and isn't nowadays. So all of the bitter products that are available on the shelf, whether they're your bitter greens that are supposed to be really good for you for the same reason why a bitter liqueur still has that same exact effect on our body chemistry than it did then.
Wow. Very interesting. Would not have thought of that.
When did you learn all that? Is that in your master's? No, that's just research
honestly,
on your own?
yeah, a little bit. Honestly, when I went to Niagara College, Canada for that brewery masters, we didn't touch distilled spirits. Like, we did one sensory evaluation class out of like the 300 we did over the course of 2 years.
So it was all
that had
beer?
to do. It was primarily beer, and we did some tangential industries, but we did one class on like spirits. So all of that was self-education, trying to get up to snuff and really understand the lay of the land. I mean, I had been given an opportunity to run a distillery. I was going to do the best I can, and I'm a very big, firm believer that self-education is the most important and impactful type of education.
Absolutely.
You get out what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Agreed.
the same with a barrel.
100%. Absolutely. So speaking of barrels, are you thinking about releasing a whiskey in the future, or are you going to stick to what you have now?
Oh, we're in discovery for it.
Okay.
I shouldn't really put too much behind it.
Sure.
In that we're really trying to support the products we have and the communities that we're already distributing and working with before we jump to new opportunities.
Sure.
I think whiskey's great, and I drink enough of it, and we have a full intention of putting one out, but we want to do it right.
Right.
A lot of places can rush it, and it shows. And there's nothing, not to discredit them, but we did that a couple with some products or some new menu launches, and you learn from your mistakes, and especially watching the other industry members across this entire nation as the craft spirits boom and the adjoining cocktail community grew, you learn from their mistakes.
Right.
So you were the first distillery in Buffalo since the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So since then, what have you done in and around Buffalo, outside of giving us more reasons to come back?
Can you repeat the question?
Have you guys done any community outreach since your newest location being back in Buffalo?
Mike tends to formulate these questions.
No, I like them. I mean, I can talk a lot. I think you guys already get that. I got a lot to say, and sometimes I stifle it. Community outreach, that's such a lovely, vague word, right? Because it can mean anything. It could mean going out there and kissing hands, shaking babies, in that order, mind you. And well, if you shake the babies first, they won't let you kiss their hands.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, we do a lot of community outreach. We work with nonprofit organizations. We go and we support our partners, whether that's other distilleries, other breweries, the beverage community as a whole, but beyond that, education. We throw a music festival every year, Cobblestone Live Music Festival here in the Cobblestone District. We're actually just started the planning for our 4th year. Our dates are July 31st and August 1st of 2020.
Oh, sweet.
Blind Faith tickets did just go on sale. They're $30, and that's for a weekend pass. They're certainly going to go up once the lineup and subsequent information is released, and that's a steal.
Yeah.
So if you're interested on that, go to www.cobblestonelive.com.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
That's exciting.
July 31st and August 1st.
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's very exciting, and that has a nonprofit. We do have a nonprofit partner attached to that gets a portion of all the proceeds. The CAC, or the CAC, or the Child Advocacy Center of Western New York, that supports and defends against child abuse and treatment.
Cool.
That's huge.
What bands have you had in the past?
We've had some pretty big bands. I mean, music was always a big component of Lockhouse, and that's some of my partners were musicians, had bands, have touring acts still to this day. So even before Cobblestone Live, we had bands like Nathaniel Ratcliffe and the Night Sweats
Oh, cool.
play a 10-piece set right where we're sitting in the back of the distillery.
Oh,
It was one of those 103.3 The Edge secret shows that they kind of teased until like an hour before when they let it out, and then whoever got there got there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you wouldn't think
Imagine
it, but
the
we
acoustics in here would be flying.
they're actually I thought that when we first moved in, but they're great.
Really?
Yeah, they don't bounce off because everything gets so high. By the time they're lost,
Sure.
you can't hear it, can't see it.
And
Right.
Definitely
there's-
can't see it
yeah.
because it's noise. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's there, though.
Good catch.
We've had some pretty big names. We have had Real Estate play our first year.
Okay.
Wow.
Solid Disco, which is a hometown favorites. We just had Joywave last year. Year 2 in 2018, we had, and I'm drawing a very quick blank. I want to say Broken Social Scene. Yeah, it was
okay.
Broken Social Scene. But hometown favorites like the Sheepdogs from Ontario, Aqueous, and it's a diverse music festival, so it's not just like classic rock or indie.
Sure.
We have DJs, we have bluegrass. Last year we had Animobiles, which are like little go-kart size go-karts that you can sit on. They're covered in
cool.
animal fur, fake fur, of course.
Yeah.
That you just
Oh.
ride around. We
Those-
had a spaghetti parm eating competition presented by
Ooh,
chefs.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can eat a lot of spaghetti parm.
Yeah, he's an
Yeah.
Italian guy. He's into it.
For sure.
Yeah, well, you should enter. It's going to be happening
Hey,
again
I'm
this
down.
year. We had a celebrity round and a normal people round. Sorry. And
Oh, okay.
I don't know which category you are. I don't know. You
We're
don't know
definitely
yet.
normal. Definitely normal.
Normal. A little bit bigger.
Maybe by that time we'll be
that chair's
celebrity.
making you look
Yeah.
a little bit bigger than normal, but still normal.
I am
normal
definitely
ask.
a foot above Mike right now, sitting down. So I'm not that much taller than Mike. It's just that's what we are.
It's fine. You're large and in charge. Running the show.
That's cool. It's a really cool function that you put on. It definitely brings more, because what we're trying to do here is just continuously promote Buffalo businesses.
Of course.
And you're doing that also with this event and just being here, which is really cool that we got to touch base with you.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's going back to people preaching but not practicing.
Right.
That, in my opinion, is a very common occurrence in a lot of communities. But here in Buffalo, if there's something Buffalo loves more than anything, it's Buffalo.
Yep.
And to my dismay, I've seen over the years a lot of companies really take that and use it to their advantage without really giving back to the community, to their customers, or to their own industries. And really, I mean this wholeheartedly, that we're much stronger together than we ever could be apart. And that transcends all invisible lines or concepts, whether it's all distilleries working together, whether it's the community, whether it's the consumers, whether it's the New York State legislature. I mean, everything, you work together to accomplish things. And the more you support each other, the more you trust each other, the more you grow.
Absolutely.
You also have the New York State flag on your wall.
Yes.
Which just
So,
proves it.
Yeah, we kind of take it down from left to right, from the United States to New York to the Buffalo flag to us.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is really
which
cool.
which fun little tidbit from a New York State legality standpoint. You're not allowed in any of your promotional material as a licensed producer, beer, wine, spirits, or cider, to have either of those two, the U.S. or the New York State flag,
okay.
in any of your pro material, whether that's printed, social media.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, so
No idea why.
so we
but
can't take a picture of it.
So
You can, because it's not my material. It's your material at that point.
Are we getting?
I can't distribute that content. You can.
Gotcha. Okay. So
Having that up on the wall is not nothing. It's just distributing it is.
Sure.
Which
So if we take a picture and post it on our official podcast page, then we shouldn't.
it's all
do
gravy.
that?
No, you can.
it is?
It's your you're creating it.
Okay.
You have ownership of it because you took the picture.
Okay.
If I took a picture as a representative or an extension of Lockhouse and I, showed it to my grandma, that's illegal.
Wow.
That's
I
interesting.
gotta say sorry, grandma.
So what's next for
Show you the
Lockhouse?
next picture.
Maybe, depending on what it is.
Yeah, I gotta check first. Don't want to just give her full reign to my gallery. That's dangerous. And she is liberal. She's a fun lady.
Yeah.
What's up, Eileen?
Yeah, there you go. Give
I'm
her
sure
a shout
she's
out.
listening.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. She'll hear it. I don't even know
watch.
if she knows how to use this. But
You can help her out.
yeah, I'll help you out.
So that's a good question. So what's next for you guys? What's your 5-year plan?
Don't die.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Keep growing the hair.
Bill, that's Baby Daddy from that movie, if anyone remembers. One of my favorite. Our 5-year plan really is to grow at a steady pace. We've never taken any bank loans. We've never taken any angel investors, which is very unheard of, especially in this industry and especially in this day and age. So we're growing at a steady and stable pace. We've just added some sales team, members of the community that either have limited experience in this arena and that we've molded ourselves. We're not interested in pulling in some expert from Florida, from Dallas, from California to come and tell us how to work with our community and our products. We know our products, we know our community, and we want to promote our community. So we work with people that are our neighbors. So we're very lucky to have just brought on a regional sales representative, Lauren Burton, that we're lucky to have her, and she's been with us for a little bit, just under 4 months, and she's fantastic. Awesome. So that figures into it. If they're supporting and representing your own brand and your own products, then why should any of your partners?
Right, exactly.
That's true.
Your retail partners, et cetera, distributors. So we're just now expanding to make sure that the support we're giving to our products and our community matches what we're expecting from them in return.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Do you have any questions for us?
Shoot, I guess a bunch. I don't even know how long it's been, like 10 minutes?
No, it's been 32 right now.
Oh, that's nothing. I got some more time.
All right. Whatever you want to talk about, man, this is your time.
Oh, man, it's a scary idea.
You like to skate. You were sponsored. We learned about that a little
Yes.
bit ago.
Yeah, I broke my leg when I was 17, and that was the end of that story. But I still like to skate. I like to snowboard. I like short walks on the beach.
Oh,
That's what I'm
perfect.
talking about. I'm sure you love dogs.
I love dogs.
Yeah.
Broccoli. Big fan of broccoli. Woo! Seriously though, if you got some like broccoli, bring it. That's not a euphemism. I'm talking about actual broccoli.
He's literally not lying. When I
Right.
walked in, he was having a salad that I thought was a stir fry. He
Yeah.
gave me shit for it, and then it was literally.
It was good.
It was
It looked like so much dressing. It looked like a stir fry.
yeah.
It was a lot.
Dude, it did. It was like soy sauce
there
all
just
over
a
the
ton of
place, but it
broccoli in
wasn't.
it?
But yeah, there was broccoli all over
broccoli.
it.
Yeah,
you
there was
were
a lot
into
of
it.
broccoli. I was into it.
Do you have a menu here?
A broccoli menu?
Yeah, just regular broccoli. You selling broccoli here?
No, we don't sell broccoli here.
I'm assuming it's raining.
It is.
Okay.
We are in the distillery, and there is a metal-plated roof.
Oh, okay.
And if you can't hear it, it's like a bunch of little, tiny kangaroos hopping on the roof.
I was
Like
gonna say
thousands
bubble wrap.
of them,
Little
and
tiny
they're
kangaroo.
really small. We're talking like dime-sized kangaroos. Which brings me to my next question: would you rather 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Oh.
Now,
a good
I like
question.
ducks, right? Mallards, they're very interesting creatures.
Yeah.
They're kind. They're very smart, like pigs and dogs and sometimes humans. So I would take the horse-sized duck.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'm
But
all
you could
duck
ride
size-
that thing. It could fly.
I know.
You're not flying on any of those small horses. What are they gonna pull?
They would be adorable.
A cart.
Yeah, they would be
so
adorable.
there's a
though.
definite cute factor.
Yeah.
Sure. but
However,
when
I
you
don't
step
wanna-
on one, how bad are you
Yeah,
gonna
that's
feel?
true.
Yeah, and I don't want to deal with all of that maintenance. I'd
That
rather
is
just
true.
hang out with one giant.
huge
One
duck.
life form.
Well, there was a duck that came here to Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I
duck?
saw it. It was pretty big. I didn't catch its name, but I saw him. No, Mr. Quackers or something. Something ridiculous.
But yes, one definite horse-sized duck,
Horse-sized duck.
Interesting.
What else?
which could be what's on that roof right now. That was making some noise.
No. Well, I guess I don't know. When is this gonna air? Couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple
month?
weeks.
Yeah, a couple
Probably,
weeks
yeah.
out.
Well, we were just talking. I think somebody mentioned kangaroos. It wasn't me. Anyway, on December 12th, we like to use our distillery space for a mixed-use space when we're not in full production.
Okay.
We like to hold special events here that are really fun and engaging and show people that there's a different way to do things and that there's a different way to conduct events that aren't the same old thing that we've all seen time and time again. So on December 12th, we have our second annual holiday market here at Lockhouse Distillery. Cool. There'll be a couple vendors, a food truck, a Bloody Mary cocktail bar, live kangaroos that you can hold. And
so actual kangaroos.
Yeah, baby kangaroos, not dime-sized ones. They're probably, like a basketball-sized kangaroo.
That's sweet.
And it's no cost, open to the public, and you can come on in and hug the little joeys.
That's
Cool.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So December 12th.
December 14th.
December 14th. From
noon until 6 p.m. It's a Saturday. You can come get your shopping done. Local artisans, local brands. We have Be Kind City. We have Bison Botanics. We have Nyland Candle. We have the Braid Babes performing some really cool braiding techniques on anyone with long hair. I've got long hair if you can't see it through your screen or your ear waves. So I might end up having one. So
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
We can release this before that event if you'd like us to.
I don't care.
Okay.
I was just running off the kangaroos.
No,
topic.
Well, we can
Just
attend. That'd
going.
be fun. That'd be a fun time to attend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
All little kangaroos
You'll
would be
see.
sick.
I mean,
Do you have events on Facebook?
we do.
For this?
We
Okay.
do have events on Facebook, and what I'm showing is here's a picture of like some of the kangaroos.
Aw.
Those are the babies in the little sacks that you can hold.
Aw.
Right? He's nibbling on some food. What a guy! And that's an adolescent one, so that's not like a baby one, but it's holding some stranger's hand.
Sweet.
And so you'll be able to sling them over your neck and whisper sweet nothings in their ear.
Perfect.
Yeah, nothing.
If we can add to that event, we should have one broccoli vendor.
I've looked, and outside of having one of the food library chains or any of the local farmers, there's no one that specifically sells broccoli. That's it.
Maybe that can be the next business venture.
Broccoli?
Yeah,
You're going to have a
just grow
side business
broccoli.
revolving around broccoli.
That's not a bad idea. I have an employee named Brian Brados.
Okay.
Well, I should back up. I have 4 Brian employees. We have 10
Really?
employees here. We're
4 of them are
40%
Brian.
Brian, yes. One of them's name is Brian Brados. Good guy. What's up, Bri? How you doing? Big Bri. And we always joke about him opening up a tomato company called Brados's Tomatoes.
Oh, nice.
And I feel like there's some synergy in the marketing between that and any broccoli, but there's got to be
Absolutely.
some pun or rhyme or alliteration, because that's people love that.
People
I
love
love that.
alliteration.
Yeah.
That's what the internet's good for. So put it out there with
Yeah.
some feelers. You'll get some good ones.
Maybe it's like an art teacher's broccoli schmoccoli or something. I don't know.
While wearing a
Well, wearing a schmuck. Yeah, see, you get it. I don't have to explain it. Those are the best ones. You don't have to
Exactly.
explain it. And
You got
everyone remembers Teresa or whoever she was to you. But I had an art teacher that was Teresa.
Yep.
She wore this smock. She had this almost sideshow bob gray hair that just went all over the place. You'd be painting a picture in her class and you'd cough and there'd be some in your mouth and what the hell? And I'm 31 with long hair and I have grays now, but I'm 10 years old and I'd find strangers' gray hairs in my mouth. I don't know how they got there.
Yeah, it's pretty
I'm
strange.
in the middle of school.
Unbelievable.
So this is fun.
Yeah, what's your favorite cocktail?
Oh, I like
Little Q&A.
Yeah.
my favorite cocktail. 2 answers. First answer, honest answer, I like mezcal. I like mezcal straight. That's my favorite cocktail. There's 3 rules to mezcal, if you ask me. Stink, stank, stonk. I want it to be really dirty, like the Grinch. But I want it to be very dirty. I want it to be burnt. I want it to have that very aggressive, almost scotch-like mezcal taste. But the Lockhouse answer is I really enjoy a Lockhouse Negroni. And a Lockhouse Negroni is like a traditional Negroni. It features equal parts gin, bitter, and sweetener. Typically, the sweetener is sweet vermouth. But for a Lockhouse Negroni, I like our Sakura gin, made using the cherry blossoms from the Olmsted Park system each year.
Oh, cool.
Our Hibisco bitter liqueur, and our Amaro as the sweetener. So it has exclusive Lockhouse products in it. It's delicious. I can't drink more than 4 of them because I have to get up at 7 in the morning. But yeah.
So that's the cocktail that would basically bring in Lockhouse to its core with everything that you
and it's a
offer.
Negroni. It's a very familiar cocktail that transcends a lot of those consumer educational barriers. I mean, not all of them certainly, but it's familiar. It's easy. It's 3 ounces, 1 stirred down with ice. You can strain at over more ice, or you could drink it up neat. You can serve it in a test tube. You could put it in a dish. Mm-hmm. You could do any sort of Dr. Seuss stuff to it, whatever molecular gastronomy.
I mean, we got one in a beaker.
Or you
now.
could just drink it as is.
Just gonna drink it right out of here.
Yeah, bottoms up, panties down.
Just be a barbarian about it.
So that is 31 months. New char. It actually got aged in a 30-gallon barrel from 80K at
really
Adirondack
good.
Cooperage. We're no longer filling those. Again, we're only filling those Pennsyltucky ones that are fun.
Very good.
We do sell our empty barrels.
Oh, okay.
We do sell them to homebrew clubs, breweries, other distilleries. Generally speaking, anyone that wants to use them for what they're worth and promises not to cut them in half and fill them with dirt and flowers.
Right.
There is a waiting list, but if anyone wants to get on it, they're welcome to just give us a call.
Do you have any product waiting for the Bills or Sabres to win a championship with, and then you're going to give them to the team? Have you thought about doing that?
Because you got like a good 20 years until they do. So
That's, in short answer, that.
Yes.
We have not thought about that because that would mean that we believe it's going to happen.
Come on, man. We gotta stay optimistic.
I'm optimistic.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm optimistic that it's never going to happen.
that's positive.
Listen, that's not a popular topic, and I'm probably going to lose some customers and some business because of that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, you don't know that. There's some real hometown folks out there, you know what I mean? Tim and
just like
Kim from
us.
Tonawanda, New York. Those are made up names. I hope. Sorry, Kim and Tim. But no, for real. I think if you think about the mental energy, capacity, and effort that we as a community put towards Buffalo sports, not to say that they're not good entertainment and I'm rooting for them, but what could we have done the last 15 years with all of that energy, money, and effort? We could have rebuilt the Skyway. We could have finished the waterfront. We could have separated from the United States and became our own sovereign nation
True.
that's
That's a
completely
good
independent and has no crime, any of this.
We could have refaced the Seneca One Tower.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
we
30
could have done
times.
anything.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I don't believe. I just
Believe.
I just think that there's other things that are a little bit more practical and worth our prioritizing. But I love
take.
Buffalo sports.
Yeah.
They're a great distraction.
Are you a hockey or football
Hockey.
fan? Hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up on hockey, so
Did you play hockey before you broke your leg?
I played street hockey before I broke my leg.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I
Real
gotta
deal.
say, to digress till I think I was 12, and I was at Shogun Bistro on Transit Road because I grew up in like the North Towns, a couple places. We moved around a lot for a birthday dinner, and Dominic Hasek was there.
The Japanese place? was
Yep,
it?
yeah, it was the
Love
one with the
that place.
hibachi
Yep.
steakhouse.
Yep.
And Dominic Hasek was there. He was there with, I think it was his wife. I'm not, who knows?
Right.
Right? He's a professional sports player.
he can do
Not
whatever
calling
he
you out,
wants.
buddy, but 12-year-old me went up to you with a pair of chopsticks, still in the wrapper, and said, "Excuse me, sir, it's my birthday. Can you sign these?" And you told me to fuck off.
Really?
No, come on.
Yeah, he said, "Come on, man, I'm in public." And it was like, I'm a little kid. I probably had like a runny nose or a booger or something. Like, you could have
You could have told him no.
you could have told me no.
That's it?
He was mean. He was
Wow.
mean. He's tall too.
Yeah.
But he's, I got all the love for him because, he took us to great heights that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and the things he did were ridiculous.
Ridiculous. And I get it. Listen, I'm mean too to people sometimes, but not to 12-year-old kids.
Yeah, if a kid came and asked for your autograph, you wouldn't tell him that.
No, I'd sign Dominic Hasek on it.
Yeah, I have a similar experience with Jim Kelly, so it's fine.
Okay.
I share the same last name as him, and it was the one question I got through all of my schooling. Are you related? Are you related? Like,
Always.
Go away.
Go away.
So I walked up to him, and it was in a VFW, and
Oh, of course it wasn't a VFW.
of course he told me to just go away. So
Did he really?
Yeah, he's like, I'm
That's
not going to sign
depressing.
that. I was like, okay, sir, and I just walked away. I was like 11, same age. I was like, whatever, man.
It sucks that the Sabres are downhill now, though, again.
Listen.
Started off with such promise.
We don't know what's going to happen on the back end of the season.
We
and
don't.
Did those 2 Sweden games officially count on the record?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
All I know is that they're playing the Bruins tonight, and I'm a Bruins fan, so.
Yeah, well, you can just go away with that.
Why are you a Bruins fan, can I ask? Not that I
growing up-
clearly care
yeah.
one way or another.
You can.
Growing up, I used to play NHL all the time on Xbox, and that was always my favorite team.
Xbox, man.
Yep.
That's rich.
Yeah, seriously, it shows how privileged I am.
Really?
But I used to always play as being the Bruins.
I think it was Nintendo. The last one I had was GameCube.
Yeah,
There you go.
Bruins.
there you go. Yeah,
NHL
ever since then, I
94.
loved them. There you go.
Playing Crazy
94.
Taxi on
Heck
Nintendo
yeah.
GameCube.
Crazy Taxi. That's a throwback.
Oh, man.
That was a good game.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So, let me think if there's any other fun. I'm sure there is. I'm just always trying
Whatever
to be in
you
the
want, man.
moment, in
We're
that
in your
stream
world.
of consciousness.
Yeah,
I'll record a pretend advertisement right now, and you could
go for it.
sure.
Do it.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Cory Muscato from Lockhouse Distillery. I make distilled spirits for the American working man because that's who I am and that's who I care about. Right in the heart of the Cobblestone District in Buffalo, New York. Come visit us at 41 Columbia Street. Bring your friends, bring your grandma, bring your dogs. 110% dog friendly. I can't overstress that. Over 8 distilled spirits for Western New York. Cheers.
Look at that.
Look at that. Hashtag
Just
not a
stream
sponsor.
of consciousness.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
There you go. Perfect.
Bring the grandmas, though.
And also
And the
dog.
broccoli.
And the broccoli. You
Bring
gotta
the
throw
broccoli.
Yeah.
Incredible. And then where are you guys on social media so people can follow you?
You can find us at Lockhouse Dist. That is LOCKHOUSE DIST for Instagram and Twitter, or Lockhouse Distillery and Bar on Facebook. We don't have a Google Plus. Is that even a thing still?
I've never heard of it.
We're not on TikTok either or Snapchat.
It'll just be videos of you eating broccoli.
Yes.
That's what it should be.
No. I mean, honestly, I think TikTok. I've never used it. I've got 3 nieces and nephews that are young. I think they use it, and it's probably worth a look into because in 10 years it's going to be the new Instagram because it's what kids grew up with. You know?
Correct.
It's the same as Vine. Like when Vine exploded.
Oh,
and
yeah.
R.I.P. Vine.
I remember
but
those
That's what it's
days.
being compared to now. Is Vine.
Well, Vine, without Vine, the whole story aspect of Facebook,
Right.
Instagram, Snapchat wouldn't have evolved into that. Those momentary collections of
Right.
thoughts and ruminations and snippets of people's lives and experiences. So Vine really set the stage for the modern day social media structure.
Yeah. Like ABC, CBS, and NBC are now Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah, TTYL, LOL.
Yeah. And Gary, I'm not taking credit for that. That was all Gary V. Hashtag definitely not a sponsor.
Yes,
But
I remember Gary V back when it was Wine Library TV in 2006. In fact, I learned how to pronounce the word Gigondas because I watched that.
What is Gigondas?
Gigondas is a region in Gigondas is the region in South France that produces some really cool wines like Côte d'Rhône, Chateauneuf de Pape. I worked at a liquor store for a long time.
I was going to say, you
That
turned
was
French
my-
real quick on us.
That was my first actual foyer into the alcohol industry. Was a liquor store associate,
okay.
and we'd always pick one bottle at the end of the night and educate ourselves.
educate.
Air
That's
quotes.
Yeah, it's research.
All in the name of education.
Yeah, all in the name of education. So yeah, Gigondas, and I was talking with someone the other day about how you always got to bring the thunder when you open up a new bottle of wine, which is something he said. And I don't want to harp on the word Gigondas, but it is a lot of fun to say. And if you ever go to the Wegmans Olive Bar and you see those giant beans that are like 2 inches long, those are Gigondas beans. Come from the same region. They're not butter beans. They're not Butterbean, the boxer. They're Gigondas.
The boxer. Do you know how to spell Gigondas?
GIN.
Nah. English major, literature minor. Thank God for spell check. Holy cow. Yeah,
That's awesome.
No bueno.
Awesome.
I guess there's from preaching the good word of community and distilled spirits here, there's one topic I'd like to approach. I represent. I'm currently the president for the New York State Distillers Guild.
Oh, yeah, I knew about that. Why haven't we talked about that yet? Go for it, please.
Modesty looks good on everyone.
No, please preach, because I've been told that you're the person for all of this, and you need to talk more about this.
He's giving you permission,
Yes,
essentially, which he
please.
does to me every episode.
Yeah.
He gives me permission to talk
You
about
are the
it.
president. You have to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, all right. I was gonna make a joke, but we're gonna gloss right over that because that would have been. Who knows? By that time this airs, it might have not been funny. Could be, right?
You're not wrong.
No. Who knows? Holy shit. The New York State Distillers Guild is a statewide trade association that lobbies, promotes, markets, and fights on behalf of all of our membership and all distillers and consumers that enjoy New York State distilled spirits for a better business climate and more fair legislation, promotion, and market access. We have some pretty major agenda items and efforts going into 2020, including direct-to-consumer shipping, reduction in excise tax fees, which as a consumer, you don't realize it. Those sales tax you're paying, that's the third time that liquor's been taxed. That's the third time that beer's been taxed. I pay two other taxes on it as a producer before it even gets to the shelf.
Wow.
New York State is also one of the heaviest taxed, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people view New York as a really tough place to do small business, but in my very humble opinion, New York State is very friendly to its craft producers. Thank you, Governor Cuomo and the legislature, for being very cooperative and giving us more opportunities to preach the good word of our spirits and sell them. I mean, look at Lockhouse. We are a distillery, a bar, a restaurant, a wholesale distribution, and a warehouse. And we can't just sell our own products. I can sell any New York State beer, wine, spirits, and cider by the glass or for retail, making us a one-stop shop. We're literally the only state in the union that can do that, which is fantastic, but that's not to say we have a lot of room to grow. I think of New York as the poster child for alcoholic beverage control law reform, and even going beyond the current legislative goals here, we want to make spirits more accessible to you. We want to make cocktails on draft a thing. We want to make being able to take home spirits and do a barrel aging program at your favorite bar, barrel aging program at home, a thing, and we can't. And those are all things we can do in this world. We've all thought about it. We know that those possibilities are out there, but why can't we do them? It's really just parity and getting on par. We can do that with wine. You can do it with beer, but distilled spirits is really the ugly duckling of the alcohol industry because of those mis and diseducation and the educational price tag that's out there. Temperance is alive and well, and the way you see it is distilled spirits is treated very differently than any other product category, where you can get a license to sell wine, beer, or cider at a festival called a temp permit. There is no temp permit that allows for distilled spirits. Why?
Yeah.
Right.
So is there anything that us as consumers can do to help?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you can elect the right people.
Sure.
You can
Seriously.
You can write into your representatives. And most importantly, as a consumer, if we're going to have a whole nother show called Distilled Spirits and You, it would really, which is a great show title. You should run with that. We can do a whole nother one, and we'll get like 6 distillers down.
Absolutely.
I'm into that. Because we've all done podcasts together, like shows, and it's fun because you hear glasses clinking and people throwing jabs. But as a consumer, the most important part of your job, and it is a job, and you're doing it every day without even realizing it, is supporting the businesses, the experiences, the products, and the ideas that you want. If there's something you want to see more of, support it.
Right.
Not just financially with your patronage, but with your social media posts, with the sharing of ideas and glasses of spirits with your friends, with your families, and everybody else. Ultimately, as a consumer, you get to decide what stays and what goes.
Right.
If barrel-aged gins are just going to be a fad, if coffee liqueurs are going to be the new Jägermeister, which they totally should be, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
We just tried a coffee liqueur and it was phenomenal.
Coffee liqueurs are fantastic. Most of them don't have caffeine for the same reason why Four Loko was disallowed in 2007.
Sure.
But some of them do.
Do you remember your first Four Loko experience really quick?
I didn't have too many. I wasn't
okay,
a Four
good.
Loko boy. I had like Sparks.
I had.
But it was
Sparks
the
were
same
up there.
concept.
Yeah. I had one Four Loko, and then that was the end of that
Really?
train. I immediately got off at the next stop. I was not about it.
Yeah. Was it destination fucked? That Australian guy
Yeah,
that does those things.
Off of 1 4 Loko. Yeah,
I don't know how
was
old you are.
bombed.
7, 6.
7. I'm not
He's got
that much younger
he's
than
got
you.
a young face. Yeah, but you look young.
Well, that's
It's
I
gonna
eat
serve
broccoli.
you.
It's the broccoli.
Oh my god. Yeah, but you can't eat too much. You got to be very, very careful.
about broccoli.
You got to be very careful with your carciferous greens, because if you eat too much, it can give you some serious intestinal issues. Temporary though they might be. I don't know.
Yeah, the fiber intake
So is it the
crazy.
tree part first or the trunk first?
Yeah, how do you eat yours?
How do I eat
Like,
my
have you ever seen
broccoli?
The Office where
I
Steve
like
Carell's forcing
I
it
eat
into
the tree
Kevin's
part
mouth?
first. I don't eat the trunk part
Okay.
first, but I eat both parts.
Gotcha.
I don't
Yeah,
just
you don't
cut the
just-
trunk
yeah.
off. No. It's all about balance. No, I love a good roasted broccoli. I'm like Bubba Gump from Forrest Gump. I like broccoli on a stick, broccoli off a stick, sautéed broccoli, roasted broccoli, dehydrated broccoli.
That is definitely going to be the title of this interview, broccoli.
Yeah, nothing else. None of the important stuff about legality. It's just all
Yeah.
broccoli.
No.
just
I mean, all that is boring anyway. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fascinating, and I can nerd out about it for hours and hours with you guys. But I think the consumer, it can get a little dry for them. But if you are interested in it and you do want to, learn more, how you can help, how you can get involved, what money stands to be made as a consumer in the efforts that we're trying to accomplish, there is opportunities, and it's really, you get out what you put in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I work as the president for the Distillers Guild as just on the side. It is not a paying gig. It's something I do to support all of us, and because I'm in a position to give help and make sure that we have a clear and thorough path forward to a future that I see benefits all of us from a distilled spirits point of view, including moderation, but everything in moderation, including moderation. Reach out. Ultimately, what we're all doing together is going to affect everybody. So whether it is going back to Tim and Kim and Tonawanda at their church bake sale selling broccoli cookies, if that catches on,
It's gonna be a good fact.
it'll be good. And if it doesn't catch on, that's because as a consumer, it just didn't hit.
Yeah.
But if it does, you definitely need 5% royalties.
Oh, 5%, like 13. At least.
There you go. There we go. We'll bump it up.
13%.
Yeah, because it's got to get taxed 3 times.
Right.
Well, good.
Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say other than, if you haven't tried Lockhouse products, we were the first distillery in Buffalo since 1919 when Prohibition was enacted. We're available at every local liquor store and bars and restaurants across the city. If you're out and about on the town, ask your bartender for us. I know they carry us. Don't let them tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time, Cory.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
cheers, gang. Happy to be
Cheers.
here.
Thanks.
Thank you.